Chiefs are out in St. Joe with a 10-10-10 as they get ready for the Lions. What's next today on Locked On Chiefs?
From the land of the free and the home of the Chiefs, this is the Locked On Chiefs podcast.
Welcome back, friends and neighbors. Hope you're ready for this one because preseason game number 2 is on your doorstep. We're brought to you today by Gametime. You can get into the action right now by downloading the Gametime app, creating your account, and using our code LOCKEDONNFL. You're going to get $20 off of your first ticket purchase right there. Terms apply. We have to get ready for the Detroit Lions. The guys that kind of came in and messed up the beginning of last season, and I think there's going to be a focus on it. We're going to go through and take care of how they're getting ready for that. What are these game time predictions? What do we think about some of the players? This is Chris Clark over on Chiefs Corner. You can get all of his work cap-wise, otherwise. See, 2 days in a row. And then I am Ryan Tracy.
Impressed.
You can find me over on rogueapc.com, NFL 33, where I've got a piece coming out on the quarterback situation for the rookies here and team building. And then RGR football, as we always do. Game plan will be out tomorrow. Lot to cover here.
I was just going to say, I'm going to have an article tomorrow or Saturday on players to watch for this specific game, which we'll talk a little bit about here, but I'll get in more to it on Chiefs Corner.
Sweet. So later in the show, we're going to get into take it or leave it against the Lions. Who's going to do what in this preseason ball game? We'll get to that. Coming up later, after this first segment, we're going to get into specific rookies. Are we in or are we out on certain performances? And we will get started here with the wrap of camp in St. Joe. But thanks for making us your first listen. We appreciate you doing that. Check out another Lockdown show for your next listen and make sure that you like and sub here on YouTube. Get on Spotify, get on Apple Podcasts, get anywhere you can get free audio. You can get us 5 days a week and get that much more on the text line at 816-357-8781. What do you got?
I was just going to say, let us know what you think about our segments, in or out. Some people have liked it, some people haven't. So just want to hear more on what you guys have thought about that because we can integrate more going into the season.
Yeah, I find it fun, so hopefully you guys too. We're going to do a couple of different takes on something like that. But it's over. It's all over but the shouting. Camp is wrapped in St. Joe. It was a quick practice out there today. Got a couple of updates that are going to be important. Joan Taylor not going to play. Doesn't look like Jaylen Watson is going to play. And that's perfectly fine. I don't think either of them need it particularly. It'd be a nice tune-up, but I don't think it's going to hurt either of them in terms of not being able to be ready for week 1. How do you feel about it?
I would agree with that. The one thing I would say is one thing that Dave Merritt said, and I don't think it was today, but I think it was yesterday, talked about how nobody's really taken that number 2 spot. And this kind of gets them to a point where they still don't have anybody that's going to take that number 2 spot because more than likely this means Jaylen Watson isn't going to be playing in the preseason because I can't imagine that they're going to have him out there week 3. That would be my guess. But yeah, obviously that could change. And in case you haven't watched us before, we will have a live post-game show right after this week's game. So be looking for that probably, I'd say, around 6 Arrowhead time. I believe the game's at 3, so somewhere around there. So be on the lookout for that. It'll be an extra episode.
Yeah, it definitely will be an extra. We may actually have to delay it depending on where Matt's at and where the pressers are going on. So look for time to be announced. It'll be on here, and we'll adjust accordingly depending on how the ball game moves. But with St. Joe wrapping up, end of an era for Adam Teicher for ESPN. A lot of changes this particular year. It's been, I feel like, a faster paced camp. I feel like they've gotten more done, and I feel like you see the subtle changes of Andy Reid. Maybe not as hard hitting, maybe a more of a tempo camp than we've seen in years past. That's how it feels to me. What do you think?
I don't know. I think it's probably been about the same. I think it's going to be interesting. And you mentioned Joan Taylor and Jaylen Watson. Chris Jones likely not to play in this game either. As another guy, he is still out with an injury. He didn't practice today, so something to watch there. I'm wondering if Wande Morris plays. He wasn't specifically stated that he wouldn't, so I would guess that maybe they'll try to have him go. I think he needs it, but yeah, he was out again today as well, so it's questionable whether he's going to be available. You know, when you look at Andy Reid's camp and his practices, this is what gets the team ready for the regular season. I mean, he runs a grueling camp, and just because they've moved it to 9:15 in the morning, it's not near as hot as it would be if they were going in the afternoon in 100-degree weather. But they're still out there in pretty hot weather most of the time and running, and they are very efficient. I'm trying to remember, there was a quarterback, and it wasn't Alex Smith, but it was somebody else that's been there and said, Andy Reid runs one of the most efficient camps, and it's basically he just has everything set at a certain schedule, and they are just hopping from one thing to the next. There's no wasted time. That's huge, and that is what you see. The whole reason I bring that up is that is what you see in December and January, is this team is ready for everything because of what he does. And it's not just a camp, obviously. It's practice throughout the year, but it's all the stuff. They've got it planned out, and it started early. So I like it. I think that he needs to continue doing the camps the way he has, and I hope that they're able to continue because I think it works out well for the Chiefs.
Yeah. I mean, it's not farewell. It's just, till next time, St. Joe. They'll be back. And I think as that matures, we're going to see more and more things that are based on how this camp went. I think you're still going to see rest for the veterans. I think you're still going to see an emphasis on guys that they need to evaluate. This is still very much an evaluation process focused staff. And I think that's one of their strengths.
Yeah. And as you said, it will be next time because Andy Reid wants to go away from Kansas City for camp. So fully expect them back there next year. I'm not 100% sure it's under contract yet, but I'm sure it will get worked out. But I think it's great for them to go away because this is also the other thing you see that comes out of this is the chemistry that those guys have. And you can see it when they're on the field, and the relationships that they're able to build with their fellow players is huge.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's also huge when you have to get contributions from guys who maybe weren't ready or weren't thinking about it. This ball game, there's going to be several of those. In or out on rookie performances coming up next. Summer's in full swing, and we're getting ready for football season. It doesn't matter whether you're trying to go to MLB right now and go see the Royals, or you're waiting on your preseason tickets, your Chiefs tickets for the regular season, or even those cold, snowy days. The best way to get it done is Game Time. It helps if you can plan. I fully admit that, but sometimes you just can't. And so last-minute deals are exactly what you're looking for, whether it's the section of the stadium that you want, whether it's the seat exactly that you want, or whether you're just looking for that last-minute super saver. You can save up to 60% on tickets. Last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, anything at Game Time. This is really important. I sit in one section of Arrowhead, and I really love it. It's a zone deal. And when that comes up, I try to go all in because they give you all in pricing with no hidden fees. It takes the guesswork out of getting tickets for Arrowhead, but for baseball as well. You can get it all at Game Time. So download the Game Time app, create your account, and use our code LOCKEDONNFL. You're going to get $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply, but it's super simple. Create an account. Use our code LOCKEDONNFL, and you're going to get $20 off of your first ticket purchase. So download it today. It's last-minute tickets. It's lowest prices, and they are always guaranteed. Now, it is Friday, folks. Welcome, and hope that you're ready for your weekend. It is going to be a Saturday kickoff, so we're going to get to it in what is, I think, our newest favorite way to go about predictions and thoughts. So make sure you like and sub, hit the bell, and let us know in the comments what you think of these segments. And we'll try to build these in going forward. We're going to do in or out on the rookie class, individual players or performances or roles or whatever it is. I think I'm going to get started so that I don't have to answer the question. I'm going to ask you this, straight or out, in or out, 8 carries for Carson Steele in this ballgame.
I'm going to go out. And I'm going to say out because I do think he's going to get some run with the ones probably and maybe with the twos, but I don't know how much he's actually going to be running the ball. They have a lot of running backs that they have to figure out. I think that they will give him some carries, but I'm not 100% sure that they're going to go that direction and give him that many carries. I think that they want to see what they got in the guys behind him, and they will use him more on the field maybe as a fullback as opposed to giving him a ton of carries.
I'm down to see him as a fullback and an H as well. I'd like to see a couple of reps like that. That would work just fine for me. All right, what do you got?
In or out? Not Hollywood. Sorry, Xavier Worthy. two deep shots in this game.
Shots or completions?
I'm going to say shots.
Okay, I'm in. I'm totally in on that. This is the time to show you better be scared of us come week 1 there, Ravens. I am totally in on that. I think it makes sense, and I think Patrick really wants to do it.
Yeah.
So,
and okay, so what would you say if it was completions? Do you change your answer if it's complete? If it's completions, do you change your answer?
Yeah, I'm gonna go out on that because I think there's going to be enough fear factor that there will be somebody back there for at least one of them that might be able to make some hay there. But okay. I'm going to say this: in or out, Kingsley Suamatai does not give up a sack in this ball game against Aiden Hutchinson or whoever else comes at him.
Well, to me, it's pretty easy, and I'll go in, and I'm going to say in because I don't think that their starters are going to play. So, I think that's what I've heard from the Lions people that I've talked to is that they're not playing their starters in this game, and if that's really the case, I don't think he gives up a sack. So that's where I'm going with that. Okay, so Kingsley Suamatai not giving up a sack. I think that's a pretty good one. Jaden Hicks starting this game. In or out?
Absolutely in. I don't think you push Justin Reed. I don't think that you try to change anything up drastically. You want Hicks on the field this season, whether it's right away or later. So I think you throw him in there and you see what happens. In fact, I think he's going to play so much. I was going to base my next in or out on it. So for you. So
really quick, before you go there, Reed, do you think he plays? I know we're talking rookies, but just to throw that out there, since you say they're not going to push him.
I think if he does, it's probably just a drive. They're going to suit him, I think. I think there's some benefit to playing him, but I don't think they're going to let it go on very long in case of re-injury of any kind. Okay. So I'm going to stay with Hicks. I'm going to stay with him, but given that I feel he's going to play at least a quarter, probably a half, does he get a takeaway in or out?
I'm going to go in. And I'm going to go in because this goes back to what I said about Suamatai. I do think that it's a situation where if they're playing their backups from the start and Goff doesn't play, which I can't imagine he's going to play in this game, I could see a turnover coming from somebody throwing the ball that they shouldn't. Or, who knows on when it comes to fumbles. Those are kind of freaky type of plays because you can't really predict them as much. So I do think he gets the way he hits gives him every opportunity to be able to make a turnover when it comes to fumbling the ball. And I think he could be in the right spot to get an interception too. So I go in.
Okay. I have to agree with you. And I'm hopeful that it's dramatic. Give him a little taste of what's to come.
So in or out, Hunter Norzad playing in the second and third quarters.
Definitely in on the second, and I think I'm in on the third as well. I do think that they got to get him as many looks as possible because when it comes down to if they have to go short at the O-line position, they got to know if there's somebody besides Mike Caliendo that they feel can play two positions on the interior. And so I think he might play two different positions, but I think he will get about 2 quarters of work.
Yep, I agree with that. I'm curious to see if he gets multiple positions.
Yeah, I am as well. I think that would be smart, but we'll see. All right. Last one for me, Jared Wiley. I think we know how the room is shaking out for us, especially depending on what our 53-man projections are going to come down to. And folks, we are going to have those for you after we get back here, just after the third preseason game. We're going to have something. Maybe we'll even have to go before that because it's like cut downs are right after it. But for Wiley, knowing that he is on the roster, but I feel like this game is going to be one where he gets a little bit more involved. I think 3 catches for him. Are you in or out?
I'm going to go in, and I'm going to go in because I think that they're going to try to get him involved with Patrick Mahomes in the first couple of drives that Mahomes is in. And then he's going to play probably however long he plays with Mahomes and probably into the second quarter and maybe even a little bit into the second half because I think that they feel like they need to get him some reps too. I do think that they need to use as much time as they can to get him up to speed as quickly as possible.
I'm with you. Now that's rookies and what we think they're going to do, unless you have another one.
I'll put it to you this way: in or out, CJ Hansen and Kamal Hadden make cases for their game for making the roster this game.
In on Hansen, out on Hadden. I'm not sure he's going to get enough. Hadden in particular, I think he gets 17 reps last week. There's just too many guys with experience ahead of him. They took a very long look at Keith Taylor, and Taylor might be the evidence that maybe they do switch it around. But they got to see some Kelvin Joseph this week. They're not going to see Watson, so I think you're going to see Josh, and you got to see more Nazi. So I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make that statement.
Yeah, and that's the big thing, is that he's going to get so many, or they're going to have so many reps going to the other corners. I think that he could definitely lose out of reps this time around. Would expect him to rebound and get more reps come a week 3.
Yeah, I would think so too. I think right now the best situation for him is probably to lay low, make the practice squad, and get elevated later when somebody gets hurt, because it's inevitable you're going to get corners hurt this season. So I'm not too worried about it in terms of progression, to tell you the truth. I think what I am more worried about is who is able to put out, who accomplishes production against the Lions. We're going to be taking a deep look at that next on Take It or Leave It following this. When you're hiring for a small business, you want to find the quality professionals with the right fit for the right role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. It has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team. I'm always looking at LinkedIn. It isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you find professionals you can't find anywhere else. Even those who aren't actively looking or searching for a new job might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get qualified candidates within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. It goes down the easiest way to post your job for free is on LinkedIn.com/LockedOnNFL. That's LinkedIn.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. Make sure that you get subbed over on Locked On NFL today. Make sure you go check out Locked On Fantasy Football with our guy, Vinny Iyer, is going to get you ready for your fantasy drafts. Those are coming up quick. I've got them stacked up all over, and I got to check out what Vinny has to say on some of these guys that I'm just not sure about. So make sure you do as well. This is the fun one. This is game specific, about non-rookies, basically. And I'm going to make some statements, and you're going to tell me whether you take it or leave it. And I'm extremely excited for what this game represents for second and third year players in particular. So I'm going to start with Felix Anudike-Uzomah, and especially if he isn't going against Penei Sewell, I think that changes it. So knowing that, I think he's going to hit at least 3 pressures and that all-important actual sack. I think he gets that done this game. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I do think he gets it done. I think that he looked better last week. There's still some work that he needs to do in his game, but I do think that he's looked a lot better than what we saw last year, and that is all you can ask from him as a player. We knew it was going to be a project, but the big thing, and we talked about this when he was drafted, the big thing is you have to hit a defensive end, and that is a high-skill premium position, and if it takes a little bit to get somebody to go, no problem with that. So I take it on this one.
Okay. I like it. I will take it as well.
Take it or leave it. Justin Watson scores a touchdown in this game.
Justin Watson, Matt Nagy's favorite backup that will now get some run. That's a great question. If the starters are out and Brian Branch in particular is not on the field, I take it. And I do think he says, hey, remember me? I know how to play in this offense too. You know, I think that's kind of to the point where he really needs to be, because he's been kind of quiet this camp with the injury and then coming back even being pretty quiet. So I will take that. I do think he gets in the end zone. Mine was related, since you stole my guy. Knowing what Matt Nagy had to say about him, I think there's another guy on this roster that has some trust by some of the coaching staff, in particular his position coach. And I think he wants to make a statement. It is the Lions. It may not be their starters. He'll probably see a rookie, is my guess, at corner, at least some. Does Sky Moore make a push to say, I deserve to be on this roster? There's no question. You need me to be here. I say yes, take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it. I agree. He's going to be up against inferior competition. He should eat. I mean, he still has a skill set. That's the thing that really drives me nuts with Sky Moore sometimes. His skill set is still there. It hasn't produced, and he hasn't been the player that you would expect. So I'm gonna leave it in this one. I think that he should show up in this game. He should be a guy that can come in and do something. I mean, look at what he did last week. The second Brown went out, he was the guy that they called on to go in. Now, maybe that's different if Justin Watson was healthy. I don't know, but they obviously trust him and they think he can do it. I just haven't seen it. I would love to be proven wrong, and it's going to make it very hard if he actually shows up and does that.
Yeah, it's making people's decisions difficult is probably the number one thing for you to do if you're a guy that hasn't met expectations to this point.
Yep. So take it or leave it. Lucas Niang does not give up a sack.
Well, if you don't play, then you don't give up sacks. But
he's the starting right tackle for this game.
I mean, every time we say that, he ends up going out. So I'm trying not to jinx the guy. That's what I'm here for. I will take it. I don't think he gives anything up, especially if Hutchinson isn't out there. If the ones aren't out there against him, I think he can handle backups relatively easily. I will take that.
I hope you're right.
Yeah, me too. Okay. This is going to be my favorite one because I think I already know the answer, but that's going to be okay. A lot of questions about who's going to be where, when, and how on the defensive line. It comes down to this. You have experience. We know everybody that's got experience, including Derek Nottie, who I still don't know if he's going to get much go in this game. Obviously,
I doubt he plays.
I kind of feel like that too. But it comes down to like guys like Mike Pinnell's going to get some action. Turk Wharton's going to start most likely. Matt Dickerson's going to be out there. It comes down to the two young guys. And so I am going to say this. I think Lovett outplays Farrell in this ballgame in terms of pressure, maybe only because of the level of competition, because I think Farrell will get in first. But I think there's more wow factor to Lovett in the second game than there is to Farrell. Take it or leave it.
That's such a tough question because you're right. The level of competition matters so much. And if Farrell gets in there with early in the second quarter, that's a different level of competition than what Lovett will see. I'm going to go, I'll probably say take it. I do think that Lovett has the ability to get some pressure. But it's just a question. I mean, if the Lions aren't playing, okay, let's go back to this. If the Lions aren't playing their starters, then they're going to be playing their third string or fourth string pretty quickly in the third and fourth quarter in this game. So Lovett is going to be going up against guys that have no business being in the league in a couple of weeks. That is, I think, easier to get pressure on than what Farrell will go up against. But Farrell might get some of that as well. I think Lovett should take advantage of it, though.
Yeah, I agree. I'd love to know what you guys think. Take it or leave this segment. If you would like to see us do this again, we'd like to know. Hope you're ready. A preseason game number 2 pretty much determines the roster unless something crazy happens the week after. So dig in tight. We're going to have post-game for you all over the place on everywhere that we do work. Hopefully you'll start here with us on Locked On Chiefs, and make sure that you check out another Locked On show for your next listen, because there's shows all over the place for every team that you're looking for, including the crazy AFC West, which has a lot of questions going on right now. I'm going to be looking forward to it. I hope that you are too. We will be here for you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great one. We'll catch you next time.